Hi guys, and welcome back to World of Tanks. And well, it's been requested in one of my comments fairly recently, so I thought it was time for another What's in my garage sort of update, just to a quick flick through, see what's in my garage, see what's changed. You'll probably notice maybe more than me, I don't know, but anyway, we'll crack on with it. Some of these, well, a lot of these were still in the last one. My grinds have been going quite slowly recently, because of doing sort of various other videos, but we'll get started. So, got the various combat cars, you know, the Fox, the Hornet, the Kraken, the Python. They're all exactly the same, just different things. I got them, I don't know if it was a charity bundle, and it came with loads of other stuff and actually worked out. I think that you got like all 5 of these for nothing, and you were basically paying for whatever else you got in the bundle. I can't remember what it was now, but there you go anyway. I've got the Locust, little fallback American crew trainer, really good fun tank. Blitzen, I would imagine most people have got one of those in the garage. We've got the Lycan T71, and you'll notice some of these don't have equipment on, and some of these are basically bought for reviews. This is the odd one that I bought thinking it was going to play or sort of be one way, and it's slightly not. Like, well, the Lycan I basically got in the monster tanks. I don't really go in it personally. I don't know why, but that's why it's got no equipment on. The M41B Bulldog, it's actually slower than the regular Bulldog, slightly worse power to weight ratio, I think. And you know, I thought I was really going to like it, and ended up just not liking it. So it's just sat there. Like I say, there are a few that I bought for reviews. I've got the M4A2E4 Ripper. While I may, just worth mentioning that I think it's the Mega Bundle that's in the store at the minute, does come with 2 different versions of this same tank. The M4A2E4 and the M4A2E4 Ripper, the only difference being that this one looks like a box of crayons threw up all over it. You've got the trusty M4 Sherman. I am working on a sort of new player's guide for the Sherman, a bit like I did with the Tiger 1, where it's sort of, you know, it is one of the tanks that kind of attracts people towards it because of its historical significance. So I was working on that yesterday, but I wasn't feeling very well all weekend, and very nearly didn't do Sunday's video actually, so my apologies, that's why there wasn't a video last night. I've got the Ram 2, again not a bad little crew trainer, quite a nice little medium tank. I've got the Fury T20, although soon to be out of it. If you look, it's 98,000 for the Pershing. I've got 95,899 on it, so I think a half decent, in fact not even a half decent, a daily double will do it. In fact, I could pretty much just show up, fire a couple of shots, and that'll probably get it me. I've got the T23E3, made it into my crew training rotation. Actually quite a nice little tank. Prior to my first thoughts, I think my first thoughts on it was that I didn't like it, but I could see why people would, because it did have its benefits. But it's grown on me a lot actually. The DPM, you know, it's very low damage, but the DPM is really good, and so are the ground resistances. Anyway, yeah, try and keep this quick. I've got the Freedom, the Super Pershing variant, the T95E2. Not a great tank in my opinion. It's not bad, but it's far from great. I think the hull. It's, I mean, just to give you an idea quickly, look at the sort of hodgepodge of armour profile on the hull. So it's not too bad, but I think the Legion has better penetration. It's definitely got a better hull, better gun handling. In fact, the gun handling on the Legion is stunning. So yeah, not a... Well, anyway, there you go. By the by, the T54E1 slowed down a little bit on my grind of that one. I must admit, got to get back to it. And yeah, the new interface as well. Something, obviously, the updates it. We've got the new interface now. I'm going to try and get a video showing possibly the new PvE modes that they've added in tonight. I've got the T14, my trusty T29, my lovely tank. In fact, my favourite tank. I've got the M6A2E1, the Mutant 6. And if there's any of these that I've not done a review on yet, in particular, or anything like that, then, you know, try and let me know in the comments, and I'll see what I can do for you. Obviously I'll have to sort of fit it in amongst other things, but it'll help me plan out a little bit more. The T32, again, not too far from getting out of that, to be honest. The T34 Black. I actually bought the regular T34 when it was on sale a couple of days before the black editions came out, and then later that day they announced the black ones. So I raised the ticket, and Wargaming very kindly swapped it over, because obviously I said to them, which, you know, it's true, I wouldn't have bought the normal one if I'd have known about this one. And they did that for a lot of people that had sort of bought the T34 within so many weeks of the black one coming out, so that was quite good of them. I've got the M56 Scorpion. Worth mentioning while I'm here as well, in the review of this, I did make special mention of the hole in the gun shield, because it was actually a hole. It wasn't on the damage module, and you did have shells pass through. Not very often, but I had the odd one happen, and it just obviously made it harder to hit. I don't know when it happened. Not this update, it was a while back, but if you look now, that hole is not there anymore, so it is now solid on the damage model. So do bear that in mind. My review of this is out of date now slightly. The T28 HTC, or T28 concept. Very good in towns because you can hide those ridiculous side boob weak spots. The T25 AT. I've got the T30, fantastic TD in my, well, I like it, but I use it more like a heavy tank than anything else. Sexton 1, very overpowered little tier 3 arty, that's the US Sexton 1, sorry. The M12, yeah, somebody the other day sent me a message on PlayStation. I think I'd possibly taken them out when I was in the M12, and they were saying they didn't fancy me for sort of an arty player, and it's kind of true, but every now and again I do like to jump in them. I've got back into them recently. I used to play them quite a bit, but I got a bit fed up. But I do find that the best way to sort of figure out how to avoid arty or play as arty safe as possible is to actually play in an arty, because obviously you'll then figure where you can and can't hit, and that will translate to when you're in any other tank trying to avoid them. But I do think it's fun. It's just something different every now and again to the normal style of play. I've got the Snakebite. Still got the Matilda in there, not been in it for a while though. I have dropped the brightness down slightly on here as well. On my TV it was set to the right gamma setting in the options, but it was coming through a bit bright on the PC, I think, in the videos. The Vanquisher, I did win that one. I've got the Knight with its very garish paint job. The Boilermaker. I've got the Sentinel AC4, which is basically, I take that out more than I do the Boilermaker now. I didn't take the Boilermaker out that often. I've got the Centennial, the Centurion 7-1, not quite full upgraded. I've still got the 20-pounder on that. The Excelsior. I've got the Mighty Tog. I am working on a review of that as well for the next week or so, I think. Mooseman, you were asking about that one, so yeah, it is coming. The Brazilian Bulldog, not Brazilian Bulldog, the British Bulldog, sorry. Still got the Conqueror in here to do for the British Heavies reviews. I've got to catch up though and get the Carnarvon done. I've got the Chieftain, the FV215B, the Challenger. I'm going back down that line again, and a quick one for people in, I think it's the Archer, possibly the one before the Achilles. Drive it backwards when you're driving about, it goes much faster. The FV215B183, Panzer 38H, kindly gifted to me. The Panzer 2D, I've been converting a little bit of XP recently for something that was absolutely horrible. Just to get it upgraded, I think it was. Panzer 2 JPS, the Panzer T15, the VK2801, yep, carried on down that line slightly. I've got the Aufkol Panther, Panzer S35, the Gross Tractor, as you know, the Panzer T25, the GUP, which was the first tank that I earned, Panzer IV Hydro, Panzer V-4. The equipment came off that actually to fund something else, so we'll be going back on. Never had a chance to put the equipment on this. Keep meaning to save up for it, but I've got the Panzer IV-S as well. Crafts Panther, and you can see the barrel. Yes, I am just showing off my mark of excellence. You caught me. I've got the Champion, not the 1-1 unfortunately, but I did get 50% off that one for having the MVP medal. The Panther 88, Panther 2, gone back into that one. Captured KB1. It's alright, that blurry bit at the side's bugging me now slightly. In fact, I might just zoom out. Got the Hammer. Don't drive that very often at all. Still got my Tiger. Took the equipment off to fund something else. I don't want to get rid of it. I do like the Tiger. Tiger 131. My Tiger 2. VK4502B. Stug 4. Not very good. Well, I don't want to say not very good. The hidden is far superior. In fact, I think the Stug 4 is quite mediocre, to be fair. The E25, Ferdinand, Jagdtiger 88. Again, some of these have been put on hold. Kanonen Jagdpanzer, some of the grinds, should I say. The Rheinmetall Borsig. That's why, sort of, for the Ferdinand, I've still not got the fully upgraded gun and only 25,000 on it. I've sort of been grinding down other lines and taking in fits and bursts. The ELC, I've got the crew training up into something else for that one. AMX Chaffee, AMX 1390. The AMX CDC, Heavy Metal M51 Super Sherman, great tank. Not everybody will think so, but you know, that's my personal opinion. I love it. It does have its weaknesses and flaws, though, obviously. Armour being one of them. The FCM 50T Liberté, AMX 5100, growing on me. I've not got the top engine on that one. I thought I had the other day. I've got the upgrade pack, so I've got the mid engine on it. The FCM 36 Pack 40, possibly the TD in the game with the most broken gun. It's in the tech tree all the time, and the gun is ridiculously broken, as is the view range. Completely overpowered in a tier 3 match, and to be honest, it can outspot. I can't think of anything it can't outspot that it'll come up against. You've got just under 16 rounds a minute, and this is a tier 3, 1.5 second aiming time. Accuracy isn't too bad, but it's not great. It's 0.37, but you know, it's still there. 98 pen, 110 damage, 126 on your premium, again 110. But you've got a 400 meter view range. I'll just let that sink in a minute. Yeah, tier 3, 400 meter view range on this TD. It does. I mean, if you put optics on it or binoculars or something, it will definitely outspot anything you will come up against, and the rate of fire on the gun, it just destroys tier 3s. It can pretty much destroy tier 4s within, you know, a couple of 3 shots, and it can trouble tier 5s as well, like I say, because it can just stay out of sight. The lefty tier 5 arty, very inaccurate little git. I've got the Lorraine 15550 tier 7 tech tree arty. Tetrarch. Good fun little tank, actually. Again, another quite surprising gun for a tier 2. 21 rounds a minute, 64 pen, 45 damage. So, yeah, quite a good fun little tier 2 medium, tier 2 light, that one. I've got the T127, the BTSV, the Razanai, again, nearly everybody will have that one. The T50-2, I did get that one returned, whatever you want to call it, with I got it back with an exception. The A32, T34-88, Rudy, I did buy it in the end. Well, I think I featured it in a video. The Motherland, T44, the mighty KV2 with my Grim Reaper on the side, the IS2. Not a bad tank. I just got very fed up of the that 122mm gun. It was on a lot of things I was using at the time, going through the tech tree. So I did get very fed up with that. But I've sort of got to the point now where I've not used it for a while, so I think I might stick some equipment back on that and get back in it. The KV4, the Gorinich, the Fatherland. I've got the T10. Top turret, not the top gun yet though. SU-76I. Oh, and this update that's just hit as well, by the way, I couldn't see any nerfs or buffs for any tanks. They were like collision model updates and things like that, or an improvements in, you know, little track and visual fixes, that sort of thing. But I didn't see any nerfs or buffs. Yeah, the SU-85I, the box tank, the SU-100Y, the SU-122-44. The ISU-122S, the SU-152. Now, it's funny with that one. When my wife uses it, she puts the 122mm gun on it. When I use it, I put the 152mm howitzer on it. But yeah, it's it's interesting with the howitzer. It's basically the KV2 gun, so you kind of fire HE out of it and do a lot of splash damage, etc. But you know, long game time, long reload, poor accuracy. The SU-100M1, the other Tier 7 Russian, Tier 7 Soviet TD. Type 64 Chinese light tank. Not a bad little light tank actually. That it's all right. WZ-132. Got my mark of excellence on it and what have you, just before I got it fully upgraded, and then I went very much off light tanks, probably before Christmas. I think some of you have probably heard this story before, but it's sort of, there just seemed to be a phase, and I don't know if it was an influx of new players or whatever, but a lot of these, they were, you're not talking tier 3 and 4 light tanks, you know, you're talking tier 7 and 8 light tanks, occasionally tier 6, because, you know, this would occasionally see a tier 6 light. But there just seemed to be this spate of just Suis scouts. So I'd go out to start off the match doing a bit of passive, spotting, go out to a location, sit there where, I'd be able to see the enemy coming down one of the flanks sort of thing. And a Suis scout would just come blazing straight up, spot me, go straight past me, sort of straight towards our team and what have you. Get annihilated, but the damage is done. I'm spotted, and yeah, I'm dead a few seconds later. And it just seemed to keep happening. And if that didn't happen, then I'd be in a position to be spotting enemies. There'd be people there that could shoot at these enemies, but nobody would. They'd just be doing some, like shooting at something that is already surrounded by about 4 tanks, that sort of thing. So I really went off light tanks, but I've got back into them recently. You still get that sort of stuff, but it's just something you have to deal with if you're going to drive light tanks. The Type 59. Now, a lot of people have been saying that this got nerfed an update or 2 back. Obviously not this one, but I don't think it was the last one, the one before that possibly anyway, but an update or 2 back. A lot of people have been claiming since then this has got nerfed. I did speak to Wargaming about it. I can't remember if I mentioned this in one of my other videos. It has not. It has not been touched. A lot of people thought it was the turret armor got nerfed, but no, it has not been touched whatsoever. I think, and I agree with this. This is what I thought it was in the first place anyway. But it's basically because they're not as uncommon as they once were, and they're not as rare as they are on PC. On the PC, it's a very, very rare tank, the Type 59. And, originally it was quite rare on here, but then it just seems to crop up a lot in the sales. And, it's always cropping up in the store. I've seen it a lot. So, yeah, it's not as uncommon or as rare as it was or it is on the PC. So people are more used to seeing them. They've got used to where to shoot them, where the weak spots are. And another thing, and this is something that I notice a lot with certain types of tanks, they have a reputation built up around them for being particularly tough or whatever, like the Type 59. So as soon as people see one, they load the gold. And that's it. That's basically it. So it's not that the tank has been nerfed, it's that people have they've either learnt where to shoot it because they're around more often now, the Type 59s, or people are just loading up premium as soon as they see them because it's got a tough reputation. You see it a lot with the Motherland. People just load gold as soon as they see you. I've got the T-34-3 Black. I've also got the Legion. Didn't really care for it at first. I thought it was a bit of a sacrilege bastardising a Type 59. I really did. But the gun handling on it is superb. By that I mean the dispersion rates and how quickly your sights settle down and how little they disperse after firing and moving, what have you. Fantastic gun handling, great at snapshotting. Horrible great tumour of a weak spot on top though. The WZ-120, Tier 9 Chinese medium, which is essentially a Type 59 but with a bigger engine and a dirty great gun on it. In fact, let me just give you an idea. It's got slightly more armour, turret and hull I think. But yeah, 249, 440 for the damage on that. The downside is you have to deal with virtually no gun depression whatsoever. The 112, Chinese Tier 8 Premium Heavy, which is fantastically strong and good in only one particular situation, which is generally hull down and more or less point blank range. Very good frontal turret armour, fantastic. Fantastic upper hull armour, very well sloped, as you can see there, and you know, really quite thick, devastatingly poor lower glacis though, and horribly inaccurate gun with quite low penetration. It's basically that Soviet 122 with the 175mm of pen. So you know, close enough, and in a sort of hull down location, it's quite a strong tank, but it is only strong in very limited situations. WZ11114 Tech Tree Tier 9. I think that's the same turret actually as on the 112, but the 112 has the frontal hull armour of the Tier 10 heavy. I think that is fully upgraded though, the 11114. I've got the Chinook-ai, kind of like a Japanese Sherman in a way, I suppose, is the best way of describing it, or the closest I can think of. I've got the STA-1, which has been in my garage since the Japanese line came on, more or less. I went straight down it, got through to this one, and it's been there since. Not a bad tank at all. I've really got to be in the mood for it. It's not an easy tank. It's definitely not an easy tank, because it doesn't have much armour, but it doesn't have an abundance of speed and mobility either. It's not the slowest, but it's definitely not the quickest. STA-2 Black. I've also got the Kaiju. I've got the Oni, which is sort of ground to a halt at the minute on that grind. The Ziska, which is the sort of special skin version of the T40, and the Skoda T25, which I'm really liking actually. Hated the Tier 5 tank in this line, but I'm quite enjoying this one now. It's fully upgraded, and that's your lot. So that's it. That's my what's in my garage update. That's it really. You've asked, you've seen it now. I'll probably do another one in a few months' time, sort of when it's changed a little bit, or when I feel that it's sort of due. But there you go. I'll be back in a bit with another video for you. So until then, take care of that, and I'll catch you next time. See you later.